island municipality in British Columbia and maybe even Canada. So,
Wow.
It's a beautiful island.
you still can't hear you.
Am I still really quiet?
Yeah, super quiet.
Super quiet. Check 1, 2. Let's go see what's going on. Is that better? No, eh?
And my volume's right up.
Okay, well then there must be something going on with
mine's
mine.
up
I can hear Denise really well.
Yeah. Huh. Super weird.
Super weird.
Well, at least you could hear that so far.
Well, we can hear you, but it's just it's quiet.
How about that? If I just turn
better.
the microphone up, maybe.
That's a bit better.
Yeah.
A bit better? Should it be even more?
No, that's good. Yeah.
That's good.
Because I can keep going up.
No, you're good.
That's good
You're
now?
good now.
As long as it's even.
Yes.
Don't want it to be...
Don't want it
to duck or peak.
Mm-hmm.
Okie dokie. Let's go check out... check out what's going on here. We got the market cap for all of crypto. I'm going to pull that up here. And where did it go? Trade view, come on. There we go. And then, voila. Okie dokie. So, this is the total market cap for all of crypto on the daily chart. So we are right now in a confirmed downward trend. This downward trend has been here for a while now. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna do this because it is better if I go like this. OBS, and there we go. And then I'll just stop sharing. Okay, cool. Oh, I see. I'm gonna have to move this over a little bit. And oh, so tired.
Oh, yeah, I've not been. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I have not been getting good sleep at all.
Aw,
Yeah,
a bummer.
it's a bummer.
I know. I've been struggling as well, and it was. I just had to admit it. I have to get off coffee. That's what's keeping me up. Becoming reliant on it, and you don't properly rest, and so I'm just gonna have to get off of it. Okay, so crypto market cap for all of cryptos on the daily chart. Is it going to be visible enough when I do this? Is that high enough quality?
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to share with you this pattern that we're seeing. We have this trend line. We just bounced off of that trend line, and we are headed up our way back up to this upper side of the trend line. Yesterday finished off nice and strong with a bullish bar. Looking at creating another one here now that's going to be ending in about 1 hour and 22 minutes. As long as it stays a bullish bar, we can confirm that this was a nice solid low. And we will be, we'll see how that closes out. I want to zoom in to the 2-hour chart so we can see a little bit more detail. As you can see right now, we are at a point of resistance. So it's dipped down here. This was on Monday, And since that time, it's been rallying, but it's been having a difficult time getting above this long-term resistance here. Now I'm gonna just bring this down. Yeah, I'm actually gonna keep that there. This line here is that middle line of this area of consolidation. And so I'm gonna say that we're probably gonna be looking for resistance again. We're gonna probably find resistance against this mark here. Now, what am I watching for? On the 2-hour chart, I'm actually watching for the volume to drop. Now, the reason why is I believe that this downward trend may continue, but I want to see the volume drop. Right now, the volume's pretty high. In fact, it's creating a new threshold as we speak. If that volume threshold maintains itself, we may see this push above this line. And so I am currently looking for opportunities to short the market simply because of the pattern that we're in. This pattern here may continue. I don't like to say it. The fact is, you heard me talk about this last fall. I figured that by the end of March, we'd already be into an exit strategy. Well, that's simply been delayed. And you know what? That's how that goes. You don't always call it right. And yet, everything that I've been saying about AI, everything that I've been saying about real world assets, about gaming, the markets in general, they still apply. I have to remember not to think so much in timelines, but rather think more so in event lines, especially with the way things are going between the Trump fiasco and how whenever he talks, the market does something crazy. We've got the unbelievable amounts of money that are still being poured into the crypto markets by the institutions. It's astonishing that it hasn't gone up. And I think the reason why is because people are still very much in a state of fear. And I say that because if we take a look at coin market cap, let's see if I can call that up. Yeah. Is that working? What's going on here? Here we go. Coin market cap, let's go there. And I want to show you, it's right there. I want to show you, look at this. Right now, it's in extreme fear. The market is reading extreme fear right now. And here's the altcoin season saying that, no, we are probably more in a Bitcoin season at the moment. Now, that is based off of a slider of how Bitcoin and altcoins would alternate. I think that we're going to be seeing more influence from the fear that's happening right now than what season we happen to be in. We take a look at the index, we can see that it's been continuing to drop. In fact, the line, so this gray line here, this is Bitcoin price. So even though the Bitcoin price has done fairly well, the little bit that it's gone down here over the last few months has actually created a lot more fear. Oh, can't see that part. It's actually created a lot more fear than what I would have anticipated. Given how little the price went down, people have gotten really scared. And so it could take us a couple of weeks yet to recover from this. Like, a lot of people are going to take a long time before they even get back to neutral again. What they would need to see is Ethereum take off. Because again, when it comes right down to it, everything that we're waiting for right now, all of the plans that I've made is literally waiting for Ethereum, and it just keeps on dropping. In fact, right now it's at $1,900 US. So it's now dipped below that $2,000 mark. And in fact, 2000, it wasn't even able to find resistance at 2000. It stayed here at 1961. or well, yeah, 1960, 1965. That resistance may very well continue on. And so what I'm looking for, again, I'm here on the 2-hour chart, and I'm gonna just get rid of this and make this nice and big so that you can see the indicators. So here we have that full-on bearish trend still occurring, and we have a lot of volume here, a lot of bearish volume. Even though the market continued to stay sideways, this oscillator is, or well, this volume indicator here, that's that long center line of orange. Here it was green, where it was, don't go to the next page. Where it was green, that's where we had more bullish volume. But eventually it oscillated back down to bearish volume. So right now, with the bearish volume, the way that it is, I have a tendency to think that it may even go down further. And if that's the case, well, I mean, it's a trend, right? If that's the case, how far down does it go? Let's go to the daily chart, because the daily chart always rules over top of a 2-hour chart for sure, or any other smaller time frame. So we can see that in the long term here, we have broken out that long-term trend going up, and that breakout has actually now found support at April 2023 highs, all the way to June 2023 highs. So that is, yeah, in fact, that is exactly what it is, 2023 highs. So we've dipped down below, even where we started with the election this last year. This here was election levels, right after bumping off of this support line, the trend line. That was election. And so since that time, it's actually gone down. And if you really think about it, given the fact that ETFs were announced back over here, that's where ETFs got announced. If you follow that crosshair across, sure enough, we're actually down. From that place right now, we're down 13%. In fact, from that place, it actually dipped all the way down to 21%. So 21% dip below the price where they announced the ETFs. That's significant. Obviously, the institutions are buying this dip because the approval that those ETFs got, have been transferred into the ability for them to stake that money. But now they can do it with Ethereum. But they've already made a bunch of money. Like, here we go. This is where they announced it, right in here, right in January, yeah, January-ish. I think it was actually the first week of January. So from there, it went up, and at that high, went up 80%, almost doubled, up 80%. Well, you can bet your boots that this is the area that those ETF cash would have been able to sell out, right? So we know that the leverage that they put into these futures as this went on, that simply created a little bit of a vacuum and is now retracing. This long-term trend here, again, even this dip really is a small thing in the big scheme of things, but this long-term trend here, this is going to provide a lot of momentum. Even though the price has dropped here, with the lineups that we have, how much these ETFs would have been valued and then shorted, so that now, you think about it, if the price of Ethereum is now less than what they told people they would be doing ETFs, you can bet your boots they now have more Ethereum than when they announced it. So they can buy more Ethereum today than they could back then. And I believe that they're using a lot of the liquidity from, the futures and all the options and all the other leveraged trading strategies that they use to keep their money off of the chain, because they don't want the price to go up in accordance to how much money is on the chain, or how much money they would put on the chain until they're ready. And that's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for these ETF cash outs, the cash from that ETF to be turned into Ethereum, and then on-chain staked, because that's apparently what they've been approved to do. So I'm gonna zoom in here, and we're just gonna look at the Fibonacci levels to get an idea of where we can expect it to continue to run. Let's go ahead and grab the Fib tool. So the last impulse that we had was here. This was from starting February 1st, when we dipped down very quickly onto, this was a matter of a few days, February 3rd. We stretched that across, and we can see that that impulse had that retracement coming back to that 61.8 level. It's a good old Fibonacci ratio. Everybody thought that looked great, so then the price continued to go down, and now we can expect an extension. So now it is at a major point of resistance or support right now. We've talked about that, how it is old support back here, right? Come on, there we go. Old support right here. But if it does extend, it will it'll likely come down to the bottom of this area here. So if it doesn't hold this support, we'll probably find support down here. So right now, what I'm waiting for, again, I'm going to go back into this. We can see that on the daily chart, we've got a lot of bearish volume. But I'd like to see this oscillator here. I would like to see this in a positive position. Right now, it's negative underneath this middle line. And so just it's out of sync for it to go down right now because of this. Now it could, but this, where we usually see impulses of price, is after the oscillator is a little bit higher. You can see here where the oscillator went up above the middle line, and then when it dipped down, it actually brought the price down with it. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for the oscillator to get up inside this area, just like it did over here. It was up in there. Ooh, let's go and grab this, bring it. So there was the oscillator up high, and then it dipped below. And we can see that that corresponded with some more downward pricing, right? So right now, with the oscillator really low, I hesitate to think that it's going to drop right now. I think that we may see a few days actually of price action, allowing this oscillator to come back up and regain some of its momentum, because it's really has been a while since this oscillator has been up high. Again, this is the daily chart. On a more short-term projection, and that's all this is. It's just a projection. It doesn't mean anything. We can see that that volume is quite bearish, and that the oscillator is pretty much right down in the middle. So it's going to be, who knows what's going to happen, but we need this to go up before our bags go up. So my timelines have changed, and that's simply because I'm recognizing that this is going to take longer than I thought. The same thing happened with the crash of COVID there in 2020. I thought for sure that we had 18 months after that crash before the digital IDs and CBDCs and all that, and the whole scamdemic would have been, coincided with the transition, the Great Reset of all of financials. But nope, I was wrong. We're still here now, entering season 3 of the Great Reset. And the delay in this bubble, I'm thinking we're probably looking into even the summer, and that again, I could be wrong. Who knows? I have to stop giving timelines. We need marker events, and I believe one of the markers that we're waiting for right now is either a war or the threat of war. War has been the American way of boosting the economy for probably the last greater part of 100 years. And so I expect that we're going to see all of the efforts possible made to boost the economy. And the Americans cannot rule out war. because that's their favorite way to boost it. Cardano, we're going to take a quick look at this, analyze this for a second. We've been actually, it's an interesting formation. I was giving it a full-on an upward trend here since this low, but that was a little premature. On a shorter time frame, yeah, I would definitely say that that's an uptrend. However, the daily time frame always rules the shorter ones. And so when I take a look at that, I drew this horizontal line here to give us where that high is, where that resistance was. And that resistance has actually maintained itself that whole time. Whereas what I had marked before was an upward trend, I'm starting to think that we're seeing a rising wedge here. And if that's the case, then we'll probably see this energy continue to tighten as time goes on until it can't bounce back and forth anymore. We do have to be mindful that if there is a downward pressure in the market, it may very well end up doing, what is this? Oh, that's that one. There's the one I want. It may end up doing a little bit of, let's make that go away. There we go. May end up doing something like this, finding some resistance, and then going down below, and then bouncing off the underside of the wedge to extend back down and find again one more test of this 50-cent line before going up again. And if it goes down below that, it's possible. 45 cents is where the next resistance, or where the next support would be. And so we wait to watch, see what happens. My strategy right now is that if I go onto the 2-hour chart, I can see where my volume is. I've got the oscillator up above, but just recently, we've actually started bringing in some bullish volume. Remember that middle line where that cloud starts to form? This is a bearish volume. This green is the bullish volume coming into play. And so I hesitate to take a trade going down because I hesitate to short this. I think this could potentially be a reversal coming off of this trend line. Now, if that's the case, we'll probably see some resistance as we come back up the price, especially here at this 81-cent level, because that was resistance back there. Yeah, my finger's not quite reaching all the way out. I'm gonna have to adjust that later. But that line there is, I believe that's going to provide some resistance. And so right now my positions, I've got positions to buy in a buy, but when I get there, I'm going to sell out half the position so that I can catch a little bit of that retracement. If we get a negative volume here, a bearish volume indicator, if we see that continue, I'll quickly do a sell before we get down to the bottom here. So, but I've got to wait to see that volume shift first. Right now it's still green. So that is ADA. Going to go on to Doge here real quick. We can see that Doge also just got a green cloud here. So we've got some bullish volume. That's a nice thing to see, especially after we were showing a little bit of coming up to a little bit of resistance at that previous support. So that resistance now, we've broken through it, edged it out. It could still come down, but with this green volume, that's a good sign. So now the next resistance, I believe, would be around here. Here is where I'm going to set up a quick sell point here, just so that I can catch that retracement. And because of the overall trend, we don't have a confirmed bullish trend until we can get above that green line. And even then, we have another point of resistance to pass up in here. So that's what I'm seeing right now. This oscillator coming up like this is nice. Again, we'll see what happens over the next day or so. It might even happen by the end of the day. We'll see where it goes. Next, Injective. Very similar chart looking, this chart looks very similar to Doge. And we can see that the resistance is buttoned up against there's that roll right below the $10 mark. It's $9.70 right now. Right now the low is 813. And so that right there is becoming a marker for me at the moment. I'm interested in selling this just a little bit so that I can catch this movement down at the bottom and rebuy. That also, what that does is it reduces my risk if I'm able to sell now instead of it going back down and creating more drawdown. That's that. I'm going to check out some of these other ones. We got Algorand, one of the ones that Jennifer is watching. And right now it looks like it's got the same kind of thing. I mean, a little bit of bullish volume here, but we got to see it break above that old resistance and try to challenge this one up here. On the daily chart, Algorand is definitely still in a bearish trend. I wouldn't enter the market right now at all. I'd be waiting for a retest, maybe back up here at the 23-cent level. Next, on the daily chart is just bouncing off some support. This one here is definitely a different chart altogether. Continuing to rise, nice and steady, seems to be solid. And if that's the case, then this would probably come back up, and next thing it'll test is $7.90. Optimism is in a downward trend at the moment. We just finished cleaning off another low, as you can see. This low beat out the previous low that was on the beginning of February. That might just be the support it needs. I don't know, where was it before? Let's go see. Oh yeah, okay, well this is, yeah, so if we're finding that resistance back from 2022. So, or sorry, the support from 2022. And that's great. End of 2022 support. It didn't get much worse than that, folks. Like 2022 was very rough for cryptos. Very rough. That was when, yeah, in fact, here's where it was right here. These guys launched right after the crash of 2022, the crypto crash. So they've done very, very well since then, and now found support at these previous levels from 2022 when they went through their dark night of the soul. Waiting and wait. Well, they didn't even experience it, not anywhere close to what the rest of the crypto world did. And I think it's because it's a different kind of coin. And I think that's about it. I've got Fetch, Modic, these ones here, again, still showing their downward trends. I'm not concerned. Remember what I was talking about the other day. Even if you buy here, when you consider that it's still going to 10x from here, you didn't make a bad purchase. Just keep on buying. If you have the ability to increase your position so that dollar cost average can be driven down. Desync, not finding new lows. In fact, this low from before, October 24, has been denied. We're seeing a very strong bullish candle being formed this week. 4 days left to it. We come back to here, we can see on the daily chart that bounce up has happened. We've got the oscillator down in the south here. That oscillator just turned green and it's below. We can also see that the volume is starting to pull away from the threshold. So we may have a reversal here, and we'll get confirmation of that probably in the next couple of days on Destra. On the 2-hour chart, we just got the volume showing up now. So again, we'll have to wait a little bit longer. We'll see whether or not it can break through this resistance and possibly challenge the next one at 18 cents. If it can, that's a great sign. I'm not going to be trading these things so much. I'm just holding these out. But if we take a look at what's going on, this one here actually just flipped. We had the oscillator down here. Volume has completely, the bearish volume has vanished, and now we are definitely into a bullish volume overall. And if that's the case, we might see more pushing up here. Got to be mindful. This oscillator, I like to see a little bit of more vibration happen in here. We want to see a rhythm. And when it's up high like this, it weakens this kind of price action. So we want to see this come down and re-challenge the next string, up. And I think that's about it. That's all I'll go through. If anybody's got any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. Also, members, if you If you've got questions, we'll be closing things off here on the live stream, going into the private session. You can ask your questions there. Now, if you are interested in learning more about what you can do within this Great Recession, I call it, this Great, oh wow, there's no TH in there. Yeah, let's go and fix that. There we go. I call it the Great Recession because while people are going to be experiencing a recession in the way that they are most familiar with, like a dirty 30s, I believe that this is a reset, that everything is transitioning from one form into another. It's a wealth transfer, and they're resetting the financial system because they need to. Everything's going data backed, and so they're going to have to be having digital currencies to make it work. And that is going to reset the entire financial system, and we're going through it right now. So if you'd like some help navigating this and what you can do to set yourself up to prosper through this, to pioneer this, maybe you're an entrepreneur, you want to learn how business is done in the future, come on in. I'm going to share with you this link here, manknownasppaul.com/connect. There you can connect with me on Telegram. You can subscribe to my You can subscribe to my YouTube, and together let's find opportunities that will work for you. You can also book my time on that link as well. If you want to spend half an hour, 45 minutes or so together, we'll strategize and set yourself up with an action plan so that you can also join us as pioneers. No obligation. You don't have to buy anything. I want to help you get set up. So there's the link, and thank you very much for joining in the live stream, and go to our private session.